Sorry. We got talking and busy, and I just checked the time and was like, holy cow. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Lunch with Linda. I'm Linda Daniels, and this is Lunch with Linda, and you are now inside Northampton Wolves. The Northampton Wolves is located downtown, Northampton, Mass. There's Kate, and we have Mariana back behind the desk doing some work today, and that's what kind of distracted us from the time. So if you're here joining us on either YouTube or Facebook Live, say hello so that we know that you are with us and I don't feel like I'm just talking to myself. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Hey Penny, I really appreciate your support and your showing up and your being here and taking time out of your day to spend it with us, to listen to me chatter away. Hey Eileen. Hey Decker. Now people are showing up. Great. Thank you. So I want to start today by giving you a little bit of an update on Kate's swatching. Kate is doing an excellent job of trying to figure out colors and yarns that she's going to be using. Hi Kathy. And Sally and Bess, all the good guys. Hey Dale. Anyway, she is swatching her little heart out with all kinds of colors that work and colors that don't. And when it finally works, boy, that light bulb goes off and you're just really, really happy. I'm going to show you what Kate's done in a second, because what along those same lines is those of you that have joined us for the Hat a Week, I was working on the doodle hat, which is this week's hat project, which will be coming out on Wednesday. And it is a color work. And I was telling Kate, because we were talking about swatching, that I was doing some work on the hat last night, trying to use yarns and colors that I had at home, leftover stuff, just things that I didn't have to wind up. And although the yarns that I had worked in a sweater that I had made, in fact, it is the colors that are in the Ogoputano Madelinetosh Grindbeck sweater right there, I couldn't get them to work together in the hat. So even though they work in the sweater, they just were not working right against each other or on top of each other in the hat. And so I finally ended up ripping it out 4 times before I finally started to find the combinations that were going to work. And it meant that I went and did colors that were not in the original sweater. I had to add colors to it. And that's the process that Kate is going through. And this is when swatching is most valuable. To remind you, Kate began with the Patagonia and this lime-like yellow from her stash that she thought was going to work. Again, when you hold them skein by skein, they might look like they're going to work, but then when you knit them, she then tried this darker green, and that really just disappeared.
It disappeared in black and white.
Even in black and white. That's the tip. If you haven't been in class, a color class with me, the tip is to take a picture of your skeins and then run it to the black and white. And if you cannot tell the difference, and it's amazing, it's absolutely amazing how they can be very different colors and look like they're going to contrast, but when you take that black and white photo, they have the same value and they disappeared. She then went to a lighter yellow, and this one begins to work. This one, all the pattern shows up, especially in these 1x1 sections right in here. That's the telltale. It's one thing to have a couple of stitches like in the leaf. That's more likely to show up, but when you have that 1x1 pattern, if it's not showing up, forget it. It's not worth your time. And you sure don't want to go through the whole sweater routine and then find out that or realize after you've done 2 or 3 inches of an entire garment that it's not working the way you wanted it to. Finally, last week, she completely changed everything. And look at that. Is that incredibly beautiful? So now she has switched to a dark background. Again, it's still the Patagonia in this charcoal gray. But the color work, what makes the leaf is Carisha. And this is what the skein looks like. Look at the depth of color in that skein. This yarn is one of the least appreciated yarns in the store. I cannot tell you how beautiful this yarn is. You've looked at it and you've walked past it because we've had it for quite a while. This is what the skein looks like. Now this yarn is made in Connecticut. It's dyed in Connecticut by Linares. They moved to Connecticut last year in, it's not just Manchester, I think it's New Manchester, something like that. Really close by. Jay invited me down there some weekend and I am planning on going. The yarn is from Uruguay. He is from Uruguay and that's where he learned all of the dyeing techniques working for Malbrigo. This is the color that Kate is using. It is a merino wool. I just want to make sure I get that right. Yes. It's 100% superwash, super fine merino wool. So we've got probably 8 or 9, maybe even 10 colors. This one is a little bit darker, still in Kate's color wheel, but she's thought she might use this, but we're voting no, that it might be too dark against the gray. It might not show up as well. And then there's this kind of burnished orange color as
I might use that.
well. She might, that one does show up better. You can see it's a little bit brighter. Look at this fade. Oh my God. If you guys are looking for a fade, I know orange may not be your color, but boy, oh boy, that's beautiful. But then there are lots of other really rich colors in this yarn. This is, what, that sun's right in my eyes. This is like a navyish dark purple with those hints of teal. This one is a much brighter, oh, that shows up beautifully. Much brighter purple.
So many different purples in there.
There are a lot of purples in this one. And it is 345 yards and it is qualifying as a sport weight. So it's a bit heavier than a fingering weight. But if you've got a fingering weight shawl that you've been dying to make or a fade, this is going to be perfect. A lot of those top-down fingering weight patterns, especially with yoke designs, are going to work with this yarn. Even if you use this as the background and pick a really striking color for the color work. Look at those two together.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Now Kate did not bring over all of the colors that we have. So the next time you come in, take a good look at this yarn. Ask us to show it to you so that you can appreciate it as much as we do. We'd love to show it to you. So again, that's Kate's leaf. It's just beautiful. Really, really beautiful. This is going to be a stunning, stunning, whatever it is she ends up making out of it. And along those same lines, last week I did the Alpine Bloom Hat. This is a pattern by Boyland Knitworks or Caitlin Hunter. And Gail very kindly sent the picture of her finished hat. Now she did this with a mini skein. And Bess is asking what the yarn is called again. She's going to type it in. Kate will type that in the notes. So this is done with a minikins from Freya. And the background color, I don't quite remember what you might have used, Gail. Gail is here, so if you can comment that, Gail, that will help everybody. But the blue is a solid color, and then all of the flowers are one of those little minikin skeins, which we have available in a basket. So something like that, which fades through each of the colors. And there's more color in here in these little skeins than you expect. These aren't the colors that Gail used. Kate just grabbed them. So it's so much fun for us to see, especially when you come to a class, to see your finished projects. This is stunning. Stunning. So beautiful. I hate to admit it, Gail, but it looks 100 times better than the sample that I did for the store. So I think I'm going to have to knit it again. never fails. Listen, this year the pile of what I want to make is just growing and growing and growing. Thank you, Gail. The Dahlia color is what she used. Let me look again. So Lucille ended up teaching a beginner hat class on Saturday, and I have to say it was so much fun to see that class come together. When Lucille showed up to teach the class, there were only 2 people that had signed up. But that morning, we had 2 young women come in who were asking about how to make a hat. They heard about the hat class and signed up for it. And when they came back later on that afternoon to take the class, they brought a young man with them who also took the class. So Lucille ended up with a handful or a full class of beginner knitters ready to learn a hat. We had to quickly make a change to the pattern. I am too. We had to quickly make a change to the pattern because all of them were really beginner knitters and did not even know how to purl. So instead of doing a ribbed hat, they ended up doing just a stocking net stitch hat. So hopefully we'll see them back again. But boy, I am so glad that we're able to pivot around like that. And I hate that word, but I just, it's like, I'm so glad we were able to adjust and make. Exactly. We trusted the knitting gods who once again came through for us. Thanks, Lucille. They are recent college grads. That's wonderful. We love that. Love it. So one of the new yarns that we got in this week, I do remember ordering, because we're at that point where I'm like, oh my God, we're still getting yarn, and we're still getting yarn. We got in the chenille from Ella Rae called Cuddle. Now. Oops, it's my daughter-in-law. We got in the chenille from Ella Rae, and it is a bulky weight chenille, really, really, really soft. It's 100% polyester, which means it's machine washable and dryable on a gentle cycle. You don't want to throw this in with the jeans. You want to be a little bit careful with it. But it comes in a bunch of colors, all of which I brought over. From pastels, this group right here, pastels, pink, pastel, light gray, everybody's new basic baby color, a mint green, a white, of course, a white, a blue that has a little bit more color to it, a pink.
You got it.
I got it. One more. And a lavender. So pretty and so soft. It is a big honkin' skein. It's 100 grams with 109 yards. So what are you gonna knit? What are you gonna make? Well, I dove in right away. I've been waiting for a yarn like this to crochet with. And I did this pattern a couple of years ago. Not a couple, more like, I think he's 9 now.
Oh wow.
As a crochet pattern. It's free on Ravelry, in my Ravelry store. It is called A Blanket for Jacob, and it is a basic zigzag stitch that is done with double crochet. And I did this size. Let me back up so you can really see it. It's a decent like stroller size. I did it in 4 skeins, 2 of each color. If you want to add the 5th skein, then you can finish the top off with the same number of rows in the blue. I just used up what I had of those 4 skeins, and I'm famous for that, being like, okay, I'm done. But if you add the 5th skein, the bottom and the top will match if that bothers you. And when I started out, I was like, I'm not sure how many rows I'm going to do in the stripes. So I did 3 rows down here, but ended with 2 rows up here. But you need 5 skeins to make this size. And it's a big hook. It is a size K. Yes, it was a size K hook. So that's the free pattern. We don't have anywhere to put this yarn. We'll find a place, but right now we're selling it basically out of the box. So there are 2 cardboard boxes on the floor with all the colors in it. When I first saw the yarn, I wanted to make a squishy. You know, both my grandchildren are nutso over those Squishmallow toys. They absolutely love them. And there are patterns. Mowgli.com has several free patterns for these big round Squishmallow, like, they're not actually Squishmallow because that's a specific thing, but they're like it big round toys. And I think she is selling all the patterns in an ebook kind of thing. If you're into toys, you might want to take a look at that. That's Mowgli, I think it's M-O-G-G. I don't think it's M-O-O-G, but anyway, you'll be able to find her on Ravelry. I started one and I wasn't happy with how it was coming out. So I ripped it out and look what I made. I love chickens. And if you remember, I can't quite remember if I actually talked about it or not, but we had a chicken/rooster fiasco this spring. In March, we bought 12 chicks and we ended up with 12 roosters. I still can't believe that's even possible in nature, but we did. So we found a home. There's a rooster rehoming service that we were able to connect with, and we started again in July with 12 chicks, and we ended up with 1 rooster this time, which makes a whole lot more sense. And that rooster we were able to rehome as well. But these chicken patterns I love. And again, if you are a crocheter, they're the easiest thing in the world. Now, what will I do with them? I don't know, but they're just so darn cute. This is a designer who has a shop on Etsy. It's called Oak and Marlo, and that is Mabel Chicken. So you can get the pattern if you are a crocheter and love it. It took 1 skein to make those 2 chickens, and it's really easy. So if you're tempted, or if you have a baby, there are a lot of toy patterns that this chenille will work with, and it's really soft. And you know, chenille doesn't really hold up that well for a sweater, especially a sweater, because it's going to be washed more than a toy would be. And it's just because of the way the construction, the way you make chenille. So I would not necessarily recommend that you make a sweater out of this, although you can, but it's great for toys and for blankets. So that's the new yarn that's now on the floor, ready for you to come in and see. And it's ridiculous, it's only $10 a skein. A hat would be good in it too, although you won't have a lot of, it doesn't have a lot of stretch, it doesn't have a lot of memory. So maybe a hat with ear flaps that you could tie on would be the best thing. Or a bucket hat where the brim comes out a little bit so that it's not, it doesn't have to hug your head the whole entire time. Thanks, Paula. They are adorable. The other thing that we got in, oh yeah, here we go. We have been waiting for these, I feel like forever. And finally, they finally came in. These tiny little mini skeins of yarn. Are they just so cute? This is a 75 wool and 25 poly. What can you do with this? And
I was gonna help you read it.
I know, and like what's the yardage on
43.
here? 43 yards. Just enough to do the heel or the toe of a sock. But that's not why we have them. We have them for repairs. So we used to have little repair pieces of yarn on cards, and those are no longer available to us. But now we were able to get these mini skeins, and we have 2 baskets full like this because there are so many colors. It comes in every color you can imagine. Now, most of you know that we do offer a repair service here. All you have to do is bring your piece in, and we will repair your garment for a price. But if you want to do it at home, or if you want to do it yourself, or you just need a little bit for a stripe in a doll, or doll clothes or something like that, these are perfect. They're only $2.50 a skein, and like I said, you can find every single color you could possibly need in these little mini skeins. So like I said, we've got 2 baskets full of that kind of thing. That's so fun. Last week I showed you the mitten that I was working on, and I finished them. So this is going to go out in an email, because this is going to be your 8th week before Christmas project. You've got time to get a pair of mittens done. This is a large size, and I'm going to size it down to children's as well. And this I did with 1 skein of the Shabo, which I've shown you a couple of times. Kate's going to point it out. Maybe she's going to grab some. But I love the way this works up. And actually, I made this large pair of mittens and still have a bit of yarn left over, probably enough for a headband. So this pattern will go up on the website, and these are the colors again. So fun. So really fun. There we go. We've got 5 colors of it. So if you're thinking about what can I make quickly, what can I do in time for a gift, I'm going to try and help you with that every single week. Last week I sent you the pictures and information about this one for Earth Yarn. This is not going to be a free pattern. This I've done for Earth Yarns, and they're going to be promoting it for the spiral grain light worsted weight. But I do have the pattern here, and when you buy the yarn, I will give you the pattern here in the store for free. I sold it probably 3 or 4 times this weekend. It was really a busy weekend, so people really responded well to it. It's such a pretty yarn. Feels really nice and soft. I've had this on all morning, and it's not irritating my skin at all. It is a superwash merino, so that's just what I would expect to find from it. So last week, this coming week, you'll get the email Wednesday about the mittens, and you will also, I'll tell you about it in a second. Tell you about it in a second. Because if you want to make mittens or even a hat, and you hate double pointed needles, and that's why you've been avoiding them, I want to remind you that Shelly is teaching a magic loop workshop on Wednesday. It's from 2:30 to 4:30 on Wednesday afternoon. There is still room in the class. We've got a few people sign up, but it's basically learn how to do magic loop. You'll learn how to cast on. You will learn how to manipulate the needles and work the stitches while you make a little coffee cozy, just a little project, so you have something to walk out the door with. And you will then be able to take what you learn and make mittens without double pointed needles, or you can dive right into socks as well. Although next month Shelly is doing a magic loop sock class called Anatomy of a Sock. So think about that. Wednesday afternoon from 2:30 to 4:30. You can sign up online, or you can give us a call and we'll put your name down as well. Now, the other thing that you're going to get information about in the email is a special event that we're holding this week on Friday and Saturday all day. If you come into the shop, you will be able to sample some of the tea that we have been carrying from Simpson and Vale down in Connecticut. Oops. But we'll have 2 pots going of samples of the different flavors of tea. But we're going to do a special. First of all, Marianne Snow has kindly agreed to make shortbread cookies for us. So you can grab a shortbread finger while you have a little tea sample. And we're going to be doing a special on the canisters. So it's going to be a buy one, get one free. So if you buy 1 canister of the tea, you'll get a 2nd canister free. 2 for the price of 1. The supplies are limited, so if you like the Simpson and Vale, make sure you plan on getting here for that. We don't have all of the flavors, but we've got quite a few left, especially a lot of the basics in the green tea and the Russian. I know Russian Caravan is Eileen's favorite. So we will be Kate and I will be working on Wednesday and Thursday to get them all all out and on display so that we're ready for the tea spree on Friday and Saturday. We have a ton of events that will be coming up, especially in November. So make sure you watch your email and watch Lunch with Linda. If you are so inclined, you are welcome to share your emails with other knitting friends that might be interested in knowing what's going on. Because like I said, we have a lot of stuff going on. So I just want to tell you one little story. I knit sweaters for my husband way back when he was working. He worked for the railroad, so he was outside a lot of times, and he really appreciated having a nice warm wool sweater that he could put under his railroad jacket and keep nice and warm. And over the years, as you can imagine, those sweaters have worn out. One was stolen out of the back of a car, and since he has basically retired, he doesn't really wear sweaters all that much, and he is a big guy. This morning we're sitting there watching TV, and I can't quite remember what came on the TV. Oh no, we were talking about his walking. He walks the dog in the park, and he bumped into an old kind of friend, somebody that we knew, who asked him why, or asked him about my knitting him sweaters. I'm sure your wife has made you a bunch of sweaters over the years. And I don't know what he answered her. But he, in his only Russ's way, instead of saying, gee, it's been a long time since you knit me a sweater, I would love it if you did, he says, I sure would like to have a knitted sweater.
He's so goofy.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm like, okay, I'm on that. I am happy to knit for anybody in my family. All they have to do is ask. Just tell me you want a sweater. So I immediately jump into what color, what size, what style. Do you want cables? Do you want color work? Do you want it to be heavy? Do you want it to be lightweight? Do you want it to have cables? And he's like, what's a cable? So I start showing him pictures. He still, in his typical fashion, has not been able to give me a definitive answer about what he wants. So it's kind of like percolating in his head. Now, when I say he's a big guy, I'm going to be knitting like a size 55 sweater, and he has arms that are longer than they should normally be on a person. So I will keep you posted on that, because that came out of the blue. I haven't seen him in a sweater. He wears sweatshirts and t-shirts. So we'll see how that goes, which of course means that I will be knitting another big thing for a very long time. That doesn't mean that you guys don't have time right now to, of course, go knit something. I'll see y'all next week. Thanks again for joining. Bye-bye.